Hello, I'm Dr. Gail Florence Kane with Florida State College of Jacksonville. I have prepared for you today an interview with an elementary school principal, Kim Bays, from Lake Forest Elementary in Jacksonville, Florida. She's going to share with us her view of assessment from the role of a school administrator. Kim Bays, thank you so much for being with us today. I know you have an incredibly busy schedule, and we really appreciate it. First of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And you are a principal of an elementary school here in Jacksonville, Florida. Tell us a little bit about your school, too.
Okay. Originally, I was an engineer, mechanical and civil engineer first. But as I had children of my own, I went into the schools to volunteer and to substitute and realized generally that I like working with children more than adults. So I switched and got my degree in education and then went into leadership. And I have been at Lake Forest Elementary School for 3 years now. It is a wonderful little school. It's growing. We're pushing 500 now on the north side of Jacksonville, and it is a visual and performing arts school. So all of our children also receive dance, drama, creative writing, strings, PE, art, and music every day. So that's exciting.
Wow. And in the history of the school, I know that with No Child Left Behind and our Florida State requirements, schools are graded, and you've had tremendous success with your school, haven't you?
We have. We've had forward momentum and we've had some setbacks, which we can explain. Before I came 3 years ago, the school was an F. The first year we rose it to a D. The next year we brought it to a C. And then we became the wonderful recipients of a federal magnet grant for $2.4 million to pump up the arts. As I said, we're visual and performing arts. When we did that year, we focused all of our energies on exposing our children to all of the wonders of the arts and teaching our teachers how to integrate. So with that, we slid back in the school grade to a D. So now we're quite confident that we have mastered how to do the academics and how to do the arts and integrate them, and we were moving forward and upward for this current year.
So you really have two agendas that you need to fulfill as an administrator.
But that's wonderful, because the way we look at it is that's two separate wonderful opportunities that we can bring to our children.
Okay. What role does assessment play in your life as a principal?
Assessment is huge, because when it comes right down to it, the only way to really see how children are progressing, or in some cases regressing, is to assess them continuously. We try to tailor our assessments in a variety of levels. For instance, we try to do it in the classroom child by child, so that we encourage our teachers to really take a look at how every single child is doing and to mold and push them based upon the results of assessment. We also need to do it at the classroom level, so that we can see how instruction is going in a classroom. And is there a difference between the day of the week that children are tested, or in the classroom, part of the classroom they're being in? We also need to do it school-wide. So we give some school-wide tests throughout a grade level every 2 weeks, so that we can make sure that what is going on in Class A in 5th grade is also going on in Class B in 5th grade. And then, of course, we have to make sure that we are keeping up with the district, with Duval County Public Schools. So there is some assessment that is done district-wide, so that we can make sure, especially because Jacksonville is such a mobile, transient city, that if a child leaves my school and goes across town, they're going to be able to pick up in the exact same place. Then, of course, finally, we have the ultimate level of assessment, which is for Florida, the FCAT, making sure that what's going on in the Duval County schools is the same consistency that's going on with all of the other counties. So it plays a huge role. We can't have a day that we're not thinking about assessing, because it really goes back to how is each and every single child doing.
The students that are taking this course in assessment are future early childhood teachers. So some of them will be involved with 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, and in particular 3rd grade is one of the high stakes testing grades. Do you have any advice for future 3rd grade teachers on how to manage that type of high stakes testing?
Absolutely. What we do is we begin by closing out 2nd grade with letting parents know that now there's going to be a shift. Your child is no longer in the primary years, your child is now moving into the intermediate years. And we prepare the families for much more time doing desk work, and we prepare them for building the stamina of children. And that's one thing that our 3rd grade teachers have to really focus on. They've got to focus on preparing children for not only what to take on tests, but how to take the tests, how to increase their stamina, the length of time, the length of the reading passages that they must work their way through, the length of time that they have to sit at a desk, the fact that they've got to be cognizant of a clock and know when a start time is and when an ending time is. So what we do is we build our tests in September. Our first tests that third graders take are maybe only 8 to 10 minutes long. And very quietly, very subliminally, we add 2 to 3 minutes with each test that we take, so that by the time we get to FCAT in March, our children are used to the format of sitting still for 45 minutes, taking a test, watching the clock, and monitoring their own time. So that's something all third grade teachers need to be able to do, is teach not only the content, but how to take a test.
And do you have any advice for the primary grade teachers if they see a student who is just, from the assessment results, either not taking the assessment well or really lapsing in skills? What kind of plan do you have at your school?
Absolutely. Teachers these days don't have any time to waste. So they need to look at all of the resources that a school offers. First of all, through the guidance office, and see what facilities are there, but also through the special education department, the exceptional student education department. And as you are familiar with now, the response to intervention, or RTI, taking a look at what interventions we can put in place for children, and if need be, looking at some testing that might be done, but really tailoring the instruction in the classroom to the children's needs. You know, especially when they're little and they come to us, some are very kinesthetic learners, some are auditory learners, some are visual learners. It's the primary task of those primary teachers to learn how a child learns best, and then channel that and broaden it after we can get them used to the entire school setting.
Are there options for alternative assessments for that third grade high stakes testing?
There are, but in order for students to participate in alternative testing, they have to have gone through an assessment system already and have gone through the battery of testing, interventions, and then it has to be determined through a specialized team that this child would be better suited to take an alternative test. It's not common. I'd say out of about 500 children, I have 2 who will take alternative assessment. So it's not encouraged and it's not common, because the ultimate goal is that we want all children to succeed and to master the standards set forth by the